fathers. I honestly don't feel like fathers get enough just due. Because I'm just as guilty, yo.
Let's talk about that.
My father was there. And the minute I got an opportunity, I thank my mom for everything. And I thank my mom and everything in part because my father was the one holding me accountable. So during the time, it was, and I'm just being honest, it was almost like I'm not even going to thank him. And I didn't realize how that could be coming across to him.
I feel that way often. It's because my wife is such an amazing mother.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like when you be busting your butt, hopping these planes, and you know what I'm saying, you tired, but you gotta go make that check. You gotta, like all my kids graduated college with no bills. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm gonna take care of everything. But a lot of times it does feel like, like yours is like, oh, thank you, but mama.
Yes. Can I tell you something? As much as I love my father, me and my father didn't talk for a long time. I couldn't wait to get out of my father's house. And this is part of the reason why I wanted to ask you that question, but also, people don't know what it's like to live with their dad.
Yeah.
I lived with my father, and my father was not.
It's different.
It is. Like, it's hard as a man growing up.
My dad left at 6, but I kept going back and forth, and there was a time where it was like, he's not there, but he got Alzheimer's, I don't know this. So I'm thinking, he don't want to be with me, not knowing he got a brain disease.
Right.
So I'm thinking I'm being neglected. Now I'm going to the streets. I'm thinking I'm following the same path of what we supposed to do, because it's like, oh, this is what's supposed to happen when your father's not here. Oh, this is what's supposed to happen when you ain't got no daddy. But my daddy was still there. He was being present whenever his brain allowed him to be.
Alzheimer's.
Wow.
So imagine this. Your father living in the house with you, you think your father don't love you. Because your father's trying to hold you accountable as a man. Your father's trying to tell you the things that you're not doing wrong, and you 18, 19 years old, and you just thinking like, man, you just don't like me. I went through that with my pops. There was years in that house, I lived in the basement by myself. I ain't talked to my brother or my father. Because every time me and my brother met eye to eye, it was a fist fight. And then my pops like, y'all not gonna be fighting in my house. So for lack of a better word, I was like, fuck all y'all.
Yeah.
Like and not for nothing. And the reason why I asked that question is because I got 4 sons. I know there's gonna come a point where we're not gonna see eye to eye.
Let me tell you this. I think that the biggest challenge is what he said and what you said. I think that being at church takes away your humanity. So you don't get the opportunity to just be human. You don't have the opportunity to make a mistake, because think about it, most dads make mistakes.
All the time.
They just don't have to make mistakes in front of everyone.
Exactly.
And it was a mistake I made. I mean, how I communicated to him was wrong. I can't justify that. It broke my heart that he did what he did, but it does not still take away from the fact that how I communicated to my son was wrong. And I think that I think that as fathers, there's some things that we have to learn that we will have to live with limps. We're not gonna be fixed from everything. Everything ain't gonna be well. Everything ain't gonna be whole. There's some relationships that you gotta walk, and it's gonna be limps, and you know what you gotta do? You gotta win wounded.
You gotta win wounded?
You gotta win wounded. You gotta drag your ass across the finish line, blood dripping, leg broke, and you gotta win wounded.
Tell your kids your fears. Tell them. I spoke to my dad for the first time a couple weeks ago.
Right.
I told this
What happened?
on the interview. I'll tell you exactly what happened. I was driving. My dad was in the passenger seat. My mom was in the back. And I was driving. My mom said something, and my father snapped at her a little bit. And now I'm in my car. So I'm like, hey man, you just had a tantrum for no reason. You have to chill out. And then my father don't play no games. He looked right at me and said, hey, that's still my wife, and you still my son. And in that moment, I was just like, okay, this is gonna go somewhere, and I don't want it to go. And I said, we'll talk about it later. So we went to the house, sat down in the kitchen for 3 hours. And my father sat down and told me every fear he had and the things he was concerned about from the time he had me. That's what gave me the realization, like, wait a minute, you got married at 21, had me within a year, had my brother 2 years later, so you were 23, 24. I know my grandfather didn't sit down and tell you how to be a dad or be a husband. So I said, how did you figure it out? He said to me, I'm still trying. And I said to myself,
wait a minute, bro, he said that to you?
This is why I'm saying you need to tell your sons.
But D, you gotta tell me, as a son, how did that level of transparency and honesty hit you that your daddy said that?
My heart got full because here I am at 40 with 4 kids feeling the same way. And to hear that my father, who was my superhero, had the same fears, was like, wait a minute.
Bro, what
so
a
I
gift.
don't, like, because think
Bro,
about
what a
it.
gift. What a gift.
I want to be as perfect as my dad is. My father raised 2 Division I athletes. My sister went to school, 90 average. I never seen my father cry. My father was just a man. He wore the same shoes every single day, bought my mom 3 cars before he bought his own car, bought me and my brother and my sister our cars before he bought anything for himself. That's my superhero. So when my superhero says to me, I was scared. There was times I wanted to leave. Now I'm like, shit, that was me.
Yeah,
So
fact.
now he looks more human to me than he ever looked because he was being honest. And what that did was give me the confidence to say, wait a minute, so all this time you thought you were fucking up and I turned out like this.
Yes.
I was like, I need to tell my sons early what my fears are. And that's why I was telling you, tell your kids, man, because the minute they see you as human and no longer see you as this esoteric creature that has to be perfect, they'll come to you and talk to you about their fears. And then you can help guide them. Because that goes back to what we talked about with discernment, right? I got 4 sons, right? If a certain type of woman comes in, we as older gentlemen now can look and say, son, that's not the one for you, right?
Yeah.
But him at 13, 14 won't know. Us at 13, 14, nobody checked us or told us. So we ended up with women.
My dad told me.
Oh, your pops told you?
He told me, not have. He said, you're gonna have a bunch of kids.
See?
You're gonna mess around, but he didn't tell. I'm
We
like,
didn't get to that conversation.
the way God made
You never
it,
get it?
you know what I mean? The only thing I can do to make up for it is try to not eat chicken. Because